Hello YouTube, it's me, Simon Miller, and it's number 4 of Miller's Musings, a kind of blog-like videos that I do where I pick a topic and I just talk about it for a while. Very kindly, everybody has said very, very lovely things about these skits, or whatever you want to describe them as, and a lot of people have sent me messages on Twitter at Simon316 and they've actually said that these little vlogs help. And that's why I started doing them. That's a very inspiring and humbling thing to say, so I'm going to carry on and we're going to keep smashing through the whirlwind of power, and who knows where we'll get to. You never know. So that's why we just do, and we hope. I've moved these back to Sunday, because a lot of people said they actually prefer, because the first one I did on a Sunday, right? I did one of those, I'm going to do this right now. And the biggest, not the biggest, but one of the bits of feedback that I got in a, not a negative sense, but in a, hey, change this around, was to do it on a Sunday, because I'm chilling at home, and it kind of empowers me for the week. So I was like, all right. So it was a bit later than I wanted it to be, but life gets in the way. So you've seen the title, and we're just going full in this time, because I was talking to a friend of mine about it, a guy called David Lynch. He watches these. Hello, Lynch. He's in Japan right now. Very good friend, always there for me, even though he's 14 hours ahead or behind or whatever Japan is. And he mentioned that I should just jump in, just talk about mental health. I mean that will probably be well, actually, it won't be the main focus for all of these. I mean, I'm sure it will touch on it, but there's other stuff I want to do. For example, I want to talk about relationships, so we're going to do that. I want to talk about religion, all kinds of stuff. Politics, maybe not politics, but I want to get into all that stuff. But I think it will always tie back into the way people think and the way people feel. And something I was chatting to my mate Lynch about was, now we're going to start here. This is the coming on point, but this is still a video for everyone. This was just a conversation that we were having, and it kind of spoke to us both. And I thought that'd be a nice jumping on point. You know, the title of this video is Mental Health, Let's Talk About It, right? So I just wanted to weigh in. And so I thought the way I was going to jump in is I'm going to focus on, from my own perspective, because I'm a man, right? I'm a man. And something that I think a lot of men struggle with is this, especially less so today, but definitely more so back in the day, is this idea that because you are a man, you know, there's so many little stereotypes that come along with it. I think by and large, a lot of us ignore that, but I still think it's a prevalent thing, and I do think it affects a lot of people. I would say it affects me every now and then, in the sense that even before I started doing these videos, I was like, do I want to put myself out there to this degree? Do I want to talk about this stuff? Are people going to laugh at me? I mean, maybe not to that, but you know what I mean? You have those kind of worries. And I think it kind of ties on the masculine side of things, and that's the word I want to talk about. You know, there's this idea that if you're a man, you're a hard man, that's how you've got to be, right? You can't show emotion, you can't cry, or, I mean, it kind of ties into the Movember stuff. I know that started talking about, was it prostate cancer Movember, or, I think it's prostate cancer, right? Or testicular cancer, one of the two. I think it's testicular cancer. Either way, that was the whole point, right? It was, and then it kind of merged into mental health and stuff like that. And I do think that is a thing that still goes on today in the sense, yeah, like, there is a certain pressure to be a certain way, right? And I must buy into it to some degree, because, you know, I love going to the gym. It's not, I don't go there because I think, oh, if I make myself look blah, 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 blah. However, there's got to be a little bit of that. If we're being honest with ourselves, there must be something where I look at it and go, because I want to be, you know, in a dream world, I'd be as big as I can get. But, you know, everyone's body's composition is different. You can only get to a certain point. So there must be something that ties into that, where it gives me confidence or whatever, because there's this image of what a man should be, of what a man expects to be. I think crying is the biggest one. It's a crazy thing to talk about, but I still know dudes who, they don't want to cry because they think it's a sign of weakness. And you would have heard this 1,000 times, but if you actually have it's not even balls, I don't want to say balls, that's the wrong thing, but if you are just able to cry and not worry about it, not overthink it, not think you're being too sensitive, actually, that's the strongest thing in the world you can do, because you're so self-assured and you're so confident with who you are in a person. The only reason people don't want to cry is because I think people are going to look at them and go, look at that weak dude crying over there. But look, the bottom line is, the reason we cry and the reason we have emotions, the reason we get sad, the reason that tears will come out of our face, I know there's like a science thing to it too, but it's because we have emotions and it's there. I mean, how many times have you said it, right? You have a good cry and you feel better. And it's true. And it's true, but I think that sometimes it kind of ties into the anxiety stuff we talked about in number 1, where you almost put this pressure on yourself to not maybe act in the way that you want to act, just in case that then reflects badly on you by somebody else. Now, for starters, we shouldn't give a shit what anybody else thinks. I know it's not impossible, right? We're human beings. We have, you know, we're made up that way, but we shouldn't care. But on top of that, it comes down to our own confidence issues and self-assurance issues and all of that. And I'll be the first to put myself out there that I wouldn't want to cry in public. because I think people would look at me and go, "What's that guy crying for?" But I think I think when those kind of stereotypes and those kind of labels that people put on each other, I think is actually quite not dangerous, but they can affect you if you're in a bad place, right? Because you are who you are, and who you are, I don't know you, but I'm 99% sure you're a great and lovely person. I mean, there are assholes out there too, and you may be one of those. I don't know. But my point is, like, satisfaction or peace of mind, or even freedom, if we want to get really sort of over the top about this, lies within the confidence you have in yourself, right? Because nobody can actually touch you if you know who you are, you believe in your own morals, and you follow kind of the path that you want to follow. Like, if you know who you are, and that's a whole other thing in itself, but if you know who you are and you can go and just live your life that way, you're going to find inner peace. And inner peace is really, I think anyway, what we're all going after. It's what I'm after. That's not to say that I don't have, it's like a war inside of me all the time. But, you know, as I enter my, maybe somewhat in my 30s, you know, I honestly, the thing that I crave for more is just knowing that I can throw myself into passionate projects that I love, but do so in a way where I feel peaceful. Elsewhere, do you know what I mean? Like, we all have worries and stuff. I always worry about money or, relationships or work or whatever. But if you have that inner peace where you kind of know everything's going to be okay, and I think we all get it in flutters, and that's what all the other stuff that I sort of, that's what knocks you off your perch, all the other stuff that I've talked about. And it's the same for females as well. There's 1,000 other things that we could talk to about that. I just wanted to use that as my catalyst, like I say, my stepping on point, because sometimes, like I say, the perfect example is that when I thought, maybe I should do some vlogs about life and mental health and some, feelings, I was like, I can't do that. People would be like, who's this guy? Straight away I did it, because I thought I would be looked down on. Now, luckily, I'm a very headstrong person. If I make up my mind with something, I'll just do it, and then I'll deal with the consequences later. But that doesn't mean I didn't have the reservations or even the anxiety about worrying about putting myself out there in such a way. And because I do, because I think that we all do. And I think then that, that clocks onto everything else. That's when we get worried and stressed and, we feel like we can't be ourselves. I mean, break it right down, right? If you go to the movie theatre, because I'm American now, and you're watching a film, how many times do you feel like, you well up and you don't want to cry? I've done that. When I went to see Forrest Gump, I watched Forrest Gump a couple of weeks ago. Can't stand that ending. That ending with Jenny, I'm like, damn, Jenny, damn. And it gets me every time. I live by myself, right? I live by myself. There's nobody here. And I still try to stop myself when I want to get tear back. Who am I trying to kid? And I think that's where, I think kind of the little things that maybe we don't, well, I don't know, maybe you do, but maybe I don't, especially don't sort of look at when I'm thinking about my day-to-day to my mental health. Because I think if you can embrace your emotions and just accept them for what they are, that's great. And you have to control them. If you're angry, you shouldn't go smash a window, because that's not going to help anybody. But you're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to be anxious. You're allowed to be thoughtful. You're allowed to be happy. Some people do that. And I've been there too. You're so used to the day-to-day stresses of life that when you feel like you're happy, you're at peace, you punish yourself for it. I shouldn't feel happy. Why should I? What have I done? Deserve to be happy. And I understand that entirely, because it's almost like you think it's a trick. And you think like, someone's going to pop their head around the door and go, ha, I saw you enjoying your happiness. Here's all the hell in the world. And it's an incredibly hard thing to do, to just accept emotions for what they are and to try and process them. That's a scary journey as well, right? If you do try and process something, where's it going to lead? What are you going to find out? Let's pull the curtain right back, and we'll get into this in an episode when I've got maybe more courage to talk about it. But I've been through something in my life recently that has made me very sad. Again, we'll get into it another time. And again, I mentioned that because that's what me and Lynch were talking about before this came up. It made me very sad, and sometimes I found myself, that was everything. Do you know what I mean? It was everything on my shoulders. Nothing else mattered. No matter what. I enjoyed stuff. Like, I play music, I enjoy that. Games, obviously. Go to the gym, doing my editing. I loved all of that. But I realised that it was like fleeting moments when I would be distracted. But ultimately, my whole everything was based on this event that had happened that had really knocked me back. And I let that really I let that beat me up a lot. And I kind of blame myself. And that's the kind of stuff where what would be better is to accept that something has happened. It's made me sad. I should accept that sadness and just shift across to wherever it is I need to go, to where I'm not sad. And that takes time. I think that's where fear comes in as well, because you think to yourself, well, how long is that going to take? And am I ever going to get back to feeling how I was? And what's going to happen in between? Blah, 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 blah. But my point being is that, again, as a dude that maybe, and we talked about this in one of the other episodes, as a dude that does presenting, and I'm blessed to do that. I'm blessed to be where I am in that position. I will say that till the cows come home. But, you know, when the camera goes on, you think, I've got to be on now. And that's good. You should be, because that's the whole point of my job. My job is to present, so I should present. However, sometimes it can be really disjointing, I guess, to sort of be performing to a camera, but sort of deep down in that stomach, you have that sad kind of a thing. And really what you should do is you should accept that you can have those dueling emotions, that I can come on camera and be happy because I'm enjoying talking about wrestling or video games or whatever, but at the same time that I know in my quote-unquote real life, yeah, you went through something sad, but I don't know about you, but I don't do that. And as soon as that camera goes off, I'm like, oh, and then I drop again. And that's something that I think is bad. We should just accept that you can't be up all the time. Ups and downs, if you watch my culture stuff, you cannot have an up all the time. You're going to get downs because we're human beings. You can be, you know, rolling along perfectly, and it can be anything. It can come from any direction. The weird thing is, it's always that thing that you lose, or that it creates a negative emotion that all of a sudden is all that matters. And sometimes you need to sort of take a step back, and it takes time again, and you need to think, okay, well that has gone a bit awry, but I've got X, Y, and Z as well. Because I think you should never really give yourself, you know, you should give yourself over entirely. But what I mean is you should always remember who you are, and you should always put yourself first a little bit. In the sense that, I don't mean be selfish or be horrible, but I mean you're important as a human being, and I think sometimes we let other problems almost take over us, and we forget that. Does that make sense? Maybe that doesn't make sense. But again, it's just one of those messages where what I hope you take away from all of this is that on those days that you do wake up feeling a bit like, oh, this is rubbish, not feeling too good today, I feel that way. The feedback that I'm getting, everybody feels that way. And ultimately, tying into the title, mental health, it's an open book. It can be one of 1,000 things. It doesn't even have to be something you can walk into a doctor's surgery and be diagnosed with. It could just be that you're feeling a bit sad right now. You know what? Feeling sad sucks. It absolutely sucks. But hopefully, that's why we can get the conversation going. That's why we can get talking about it. This one was a little bit more, usually I have a nice message at the end. This was, like I say, that's why it ties to the title. This was more like an open thing. I just wanted to throw some emotions out there, hopefully get some emotions back. And, you know, I think sometimes just, again, I said this last week, but sometimes just putting yourself out there, I think is good. And that's what these are all about. I think I'll do a part 2 of this. There was more I wanted to say, but I'm looking at the clock there. I like to keep this as long as the other ones, but I like to keep them as almost, you know, rockets of power. But again, leave a comment below, start the conversation, no negativity. Well, you can be nice negative, you know what I mean. Be as positive as you can. Yeah, subscribe to the channel, share the video if it helps, give it to a mate that you think would help. And we'll keep doing these. We'll do it every Sunday now. I know we've switched around, but people said the first Sundays, if you change your mind again, I'm moving. The whole point is I want to try and get a positive message out there. Well, this one was more of a, looking around now, just more of a message in general. But yeah, hopefully, you know, the thing I think I've taken away from the feedback from these vlogs is that people say they just enjoy seeing someone being open and honest, because that sometimes it taps into how they're feeling, and that helps. So, you know, as I do it week by week, hopefully I can be a little bit more open, a little bit more honest, which is hard for me too, not going to lie. I've never done anything like this. But it's good to test yourself. It's good to challenge yourself. More importantly, have yourself a lovely little week and don't be too hard on yourself.